Yeah. But first, what topic do you have in mind?
So what's the next one we're doing?
The next one we're
The
doing
being on
is
YouTube one.
what it means to be a YouTube maker with some modicum of success. Insofar as people who watch your channel think that you're something. I don't know.
I have a good one if that's not if my idea is not too close to that one is where you sort of want to see the typology community headed. Like if you have any ideas as to what you want to use typology for more generally, for example, like research or just applicable use or like programs, whatever.
Okay, well, let's talk about that next. Let's do this topic first, yeah?
Okay, sounds good.
This topic's interesting to me because um, I don't know if you're familiar at all with my story, Eric, but things changed dramatically for me when I quit drinking about 3 years and I don't know, some months ago. And prior to that, things were dramatically different. Anyway, once I quit drinking, I since have started this thing up and got divorced and did all kinds of shit like that, you know? So it's been it's been a very dramatic change for me. I don't know how much that is the case for you or not. Can you tell me a little bit about how you came to do this stuff and how much it's made things different for you?
I guess I would say that what brought me into doing videos, I've tried making videos many times throughout the years, is my girlfriend, I would say, because she really made me think about what my passion was and what my purpose was. And I had this tendency to just spin around in circles and keep thinking about things forever. And should I do it? Should I not do it? Am I ready to do it? Should I need to study more before I do it? And she made me let go of a little of the perfectionism that kept me from doing videos. And she also um, made me, because I was starting to go in a completely different direction, and I was thinking of going into communications work and other more business things. But then I decided to follow my passion, and that meant really digging into typology and psychology and really trying to make something out of like all the years I spent researching these things and studying these things and wondering about these things.
Hmm.
I felt like I could do a difference in the typology community and MBTI community, because I felt like there were a lot of stereotypes around, and I feel like some of the beliefs people have about the MBTI are more limiting and more harmful and have less to do with personal growth. So I wanted to suggest what should an MBTI look like if it allows people to grow, and if it lets people go in a positive direction. What should typology look like in the future? That was my initial question that made me start doing videos.
So, for you then, you experienced success pretty quickly, right?
My channel started growing. I started really putting up videos there in October, I think, and I feel like I've already hit 2,100 subscribers, and that's really amazing. Like especially in the last 2 months, especially this year, I feel like I've gotten doubled my viewership very quickly. So it's exploded.
Watching your videos briefly made me want to try to polish up my production a little bit because I was like, God damn it, this fucker just started this
I
thing.
think
It's like already like shooting way past me. But I don't know, man. I'm an ENTP. I just roll how I roll. I just can't seem to muster up the TE to do anything. I'm impressed with you and your TE. You got 7 slot TE, right?
I don't know. I feel like it just tends to happen.
Or
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's necessarily T. I think it's also FE, like making these like sort of polished videos, like thumbnails, editing. Um, I think of FE in the video form as like making like wrapping up a gift. It's like the video is a gift, and it's like the FE is like the wrapping paper. Like here you go. And I just think it's funny how your channel host Eric is so obviously like run by an ENTP. It's just like, all right, no video schedule, upload when I feel like it, and it's about anything like related to typology.
It might not even be related to typology. It might be anything. Who knows what
Yeah,
we're
it could
gonna
just be
go
you
for?
driving your car or something.
Yeah. Well, I don't
Really, I
know.
think you can make really well with your strategy as well. I've seen a lot of successful variety video bloggers and YouTubers. It's just harder. It's difficult, more difficult to get a loyal audience, I think, because a lot of people are like, I only want one thing, I only want it in one way, and I only want high
Yeah.
quality. Uh, so
And
that's
host Eric, you have the like extremely useful community that you've built up for yourself. You know, like I don't have a community. I have a channel. You know, I have a channel. That's it. And you have like this community where we have these like groups, like these rooms where we can go and talk about stuff. Like that's the type of stuff we need too. Because like what Eric said is a lot of people make these false stereotypes, and it's hard because a lot of times they're all just in this pool, just like making all these false stereotypes, and no one's really making sure that they're heading in the right direction. So
You
you
mean there's
provide
not
like
enough pow
group.
pow?
They're doing the whole they're well
You need more pow
they're just
pow.
like
That's what you
agreeing.
need.
They need a bit more. Yeah, hey, that's not actually true. Like that's not actually constructive. They need like an expert to like lead them in
But
that
see,
direction.
that's such a what quadrant are you?
Beta quadra.
You don't need a fucking expert. They need somebody who points out their wrongness. That requires no expertise.
That's true. That's true. That's true. But I mean, I would consider you an expert.
Well,
You're
thanks,
an expert
Patrick.
at least. Well, you're an expert at not only typology, but you're an expert at pointing out these things, even if you're not an expert.
I'm an expert at arguing. I will concede
Yeah,
that
you're an
point.
expert.
I'm an expert at arguing. I am a debate coach
Yeah,
after
exactly.
all.
I
So,
think I think for me, this topic is near and dear to my heart because I'm like a censor, right? And like, there's all these there's all these stereotypes and censors that really just piss me off because I just see all these intuitives come into a group and then just like they have like no sensors in their group and they're talking about sensors and I'm like, that's not actually how sensors operate, right? And like you don't know that because there are actually no sensors in your group with you telling you that. And so I always try to go in and just say these highly antagonistic points to these people, and they usually get kind of annoyed or just like don't respond or whatever
let's
because they
talk
just
about the demon people again.
yeah, God, it's like they just think sensors just cannot hold deep and meaningful conversations with other human
I'm
beings.
sorry, I forgot you
yeah,
were a censor. Eric, thoughts?
really,
But
Oh, sorry,
I
Susie,
feel
go
like
ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
I was just
Train
going to
wreck.
say,
Susie,
then
go ahead.
it's his turn to point out the wrongness.
Oh, whose turn?
yeah, it's
Eric's?
my turn.
Oh, your turn to point out the wrongness. Okay. Well,
No,
everybody gets a
Patrick
turn.
should.
Everybody gets a turn to
Yeah,
point
we
out
all
the
get.
wrongness. I'm very egalitarian. Eric, you got any thoughts on all this?
I feel like a lot of intuitives come from this. I had the sensor parent,
Oh yeah, there we go. I've heard that so many
and
times.
that's like the most common thing. And I think really a lot of the time they are dealing with not actually sensor parents, but in disillusioned intuitives. Older intuitives that have had a lot of ideas when they were young, but that have gradually gotten a little less. Um, uh, a little discouraged over time. So I don't think all of them are actually sensors, but I think it's just from the young intuitives perspective, old intuitives appear a lot more conservative.
They've ingratiated sensing into their lifestyle as they get older, maybe, and so they're like, okay, I can't just sit around and do intuitive stuff. I have to actually be in the real world.
Well, I think that's a
Yeah.
very interesting observation because I used to think my dad was a ENTJ. I became convinced over time that he's probably an ESTJ. Um, pretty different in their displays. Uh, but it makes me wonder again. I don't know. Because he's very much what you just described, somebody who I think had a lot of ideas when he was younger and got ground down by, uh, being a good parent and doing his job and shit like that.
Yeah, I don't. There are so many people that say they have an ESFJ mom, and I don't believe that
Yeah,
so many people have had an ESFJ mom. It's
I think the problem is that a lot of people, and I did this too, is they take the test, okay, and they have their type, and then they read their type really thoroughly, and so they know very much what their type is, but they don't really spend much time reading every other 15 personality types, and they go off just incredibly broad strokes of all these other types. And so they'll take they'll take things like, oh, I like cooking, and then be like, oh, ESFJ. And they don't know that like there's a lot more to ESFJs than just they want to be like these homemaker moms, like it's not actually the case.
Well, regardless, I'm pretty confident in my typing, and my mother is an ISFJ, and it's for a lot of reasons. I mean, I think the thing is when let me bring it back to topic. So, for me, the experience, of course, of making YouTube videos and getting people to watch them and stuff has been one where I got a lot of affirmation and praise and or positive regard, and I entered into the experience of making these things badly in need of that, but so accustomed to not getting any of it that I didn't even realize how badly I needed it. Even though I tried to making shit for most of my adult life, I was either making shit or I was a drunk avoiding making shit. So, I mean, it was a really identity altering experience to get that need filled, and then additionally, like Patrick was saying, the thing that makes talking with famous people, as far as I'm concerned, are the raw channels that automatically record the conversations that occur in those rooms. And those conversations they range wildly from topic to topic, and who knows what people are talking about at any given moment. But it affords me a lot of raw material to work with where I can cut highlights from stuff and make little videos out of and stuff like that. And I think it gives people a reason to want to participate beyond just a room where people are talking, is to know that it's being recorded automatically and uploaded automatically. I think it makes a difference. Anyway, being able to be an individual of significance in that community is really strange for me. Really strange and really fucking mind blowing. I don't even know what to do with it half the time.
I feel like you are in some ways the Humans of New York of typology in a way, because I feel like you give people these chances to come in and talk and share their perspectives and their viewpoints, and you give I don't know, you are so much about the community. You really give the community a way to be a part of YouTube and everything that's happening.
That's a really good NI way of putting it. That's a good like marketing slogan or something. That's a little INFJ magic right there.
Yeah. But one thing that happened, I think it was 3 days after I joined first time on camera, I was added to the channel where I could do whatever I wanted to his videos. Mm-hmm. Who does that?
And the NTP does.
Yeah. So it's kind of out of the ordinary.
Yeah. You saw the potential in you.
I mean, I did that as a general rule for a long time. Now I've kind of stopped because I feel like Susie's owned the role more than anybody heretofore, for sure. I just sort of defer to her about everything now.
You know? Yeah, I feel like she did an amazing job in just putting this together and getting us all here.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Someone did something.
If I was running the channel in my Beta Quadra form, I would assign her a title and a position and then construct this like career for her in regards to this.
NTP town. If I tried to compensate her, she'd quit working.
Are you trying to hire her, steal her from the channel?
Well, I'd be like, you are your chief executive video producer and event coordinator, and that's your position, and this is your set of responsibilities.
Like you said, I sent her a T-shirt. Look, it's on her at least. It's cute. Does this look mirrored to you guys, or does it look proper?
No, it's right. Yeah.
Look, it looks good. Yeah, I would say though that you should change the colors a little bit. I'm waiting to get a different color scheme other than green and yellow before I buy one.
What color scheme do you want?
Like maybe blue,
Blue and
white, or
what?
something.
Blue and white? Okay, maybe next t-shirt run. I tell you, one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life, you should do this too, Eric. I'm going to give you a little unsolicited advice. Make some t-shirts.
T-shirt lines. This is how you grow your brand as a YouTube celebrity.
I actually have plans for that.
Uh,
I want to make some not so much brand t-shirts as t-shirts that kind of challenge the stereotypes about introverts and extroverts.
Ooh, I like little slogans like.
Yeah, I think so.
I wanted to make one that reinforced one. I wanted to make one for INTPs that said, "SE Polar, don't expect much."
Yeah, I don't. I think branding is like a very extrovert feeling type thing, and unfortunately, I'm not bad at it. I just never do it because I'm never energized by branding and marketing and stuff. And so my channel, I make the videos, I make the like framework for the Patreon, all that stuff, and I almost like want someone to like do the rest for me, like make my channel like beautiful. Because right now, like
Do the
my
rest for
freaking
me.
channel.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite sentence in life. Do the rest for me. I like that.
Yeah, I want like the
That's
4 hour
beautiful
work.
motto.
Eric, what happened today?
What happened
Do you
to him?
mean?
What do you mean? Oh, him?
No, when you were in the car and sent me that message.
Oh, I forgot about this. I was about to go down to Long Beach. I totally forgot about it. But it's because it's like I'm waiting on speed, you know. So it's prescribed speed if it makes you feel any better. Anyway, when I'm waiting on speed, I'm like, I want to go get my prescription. but
That is the
I can
life.
still
That is the
function
life of
without
the
it, as you can see. I'm fairly normal. It's just me being, I don't know, dude. I smoke a lot of weed too. It probably doesn't help.
Whose video is
You know how
this
that goes.
going? Like whose channel
I
is this
don't
going
drink
on?
any
This video.
alcohol. Okay.
I'm not putting this video
Everywhere.
on my channel.
Did the sound cut out?
No?
Oh, okay. I can hear you again.
But yeah. My channel has my name, Basement Overlord. It has like a hellscape as the title picture. It has like a demon as the picture. Like my channel is so un-FE. I need like an ENFJ or something to like go in and be like, no, this will look better.
Yeah, you got to find yourself an ENFJ. All right.
Another
Well,
one.
any
To be
thoughts?
honest, I don't really feel that good about it. Like my Patreon page, I barely put any effort into anything there. My YouTube page, I've been like, I just put a picture on there. I've not had any like
Yeah.
interest in the design part of it. I don't have a logo yet. I don't have like anything.
It's
So-
hard because we don't get paid for this. That's the thing. We don't get. I mean, I don't know about you. You have 2,000 subscribers, but I assume it's not much more than, we do this out of our burning passion and our desire to improve. And unfortunately, that doesn't actually afford a career opportunity for me. And so I'm like, I'll do as much as I want to. That's it.
I do it to be cool.
Me too. I want to like. That's the thing. That's where my third slot NI comes in. I want to make all these like beautifully crafted videos, and then just like 5 years later, everyone will be like, "Oh, do you see that video about Basement Overlord about INTPs versus INTJs? Yeah, great stuff, and just like make a name for myself,
I don't have
And that's
that
so
model
easy.
at all.
It's so easy to do that. Dave's superpowers. All he had to do was like create the fancy pansy name, and
Yeah, like those charts.
suddenly everyone was talking about it. And when he just disappeared after like.
I won't talk about this for too long, but I actually talked with him one time, and so I mean he has different plans. He's gonna get back into it.
He is SC polar.
Is he? I thought he was an INTJ or something.
I mean, he's inferior.
Yeah, I think he said he's INTJ.
Well, I mean, the thing is, when I started this was around the same time when EJRND disappeared. He took his channel down.
Yeah, same.
So
there's a void. There's a void there that we had to fill.
Well, I was just curious because to me, he sort of represented the archetype of YouTube guy goes off the deep end, and it was a bit of a cautionary tale. Like, don't end up like EJRND, and but of course, NI inferior. That's the problem. NI inferior, and FI polar. What a disaster! What a disaster! You can't tell the truth from fiction at all. For every dozen ideas you have and execute, you check one of them to see if it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, inferior NI. You said it right. I mean, I relate to him. I think I relate to him in some level. Obviously, not nearly as much, but all of his emotional explosions, I think, are very like lower down NI plus FE. It's just like you don't know how to like deal with the present moment emotionally or something like that. I don't know.
He never learned to smoke enough weed. Erik, thoughts?
I actually don't even drink. I don't do anything. YouTube is my kick.
It's your drug.
Well, Erik, that's very wholesome of you. And we approve of not doing drugs too. We don't disapprove of not doing drugs. We do disapprove of going crazy like EJRND. So don't think that you can jump out in front of cars and survive because God will pluck you from the traffic and whisk you magically away into safety. If you start saying those sort of things... What's that?
He didn't do that, right?
He didn't do it. He made those claims.
And then he inspired people to do it. No, he didn't actually do it.
No, he made those sort of claims like, no, I'm God's friend. And in fact, I'm such a friend that if I were to jump in front of cars, God would stop the cars and or pluck me away from danger so as to preserve my well-being. Oh, topic. Well, this is on topic. This is on topic about being a YouTube person. Thank you, Susie.
I think it shows the psychological turmoil that comes with being an oh so famous typologist.
I guess that.
What, you wanna off yourself?
I guess that sometimes I think being on YouTube can test you on a psychological level. I think at least at the beginning, for sure. It tests how secure you are, how confident you are, how how good you are at dealing with conflict,
haters,
with, stress, with mistakes, and I don't know, whatever weird stuff that I might accidentally say or do. With the nervousness, will this video work? Will this not work? Will people hate this? Will people like this? No. So you do have to balance yourself a lot, I think, to manage that.
Yeah, and
a lot of celebrities go off the deep end, I think.
For me, I have two celebrities in every video that I make about the type comparisons. And every video, I make a disclaimer saying that if you don't agree, you can feel free to debate it. Because I know so much that there are so many people with just such strong convictions about certain celebrities' typings that they hold dear to their heart. And so I make very clear that I'm not trying to combat their point of view with my point of view. I'm trying to just say, this is my point of view. If you disagree, feel free. Because then that sort of takes the edge off. Because a lot of people, they get really emotionally invested in this stuff. They're like, no, this person is an ENTJ, blah, 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 blah. Here's all these reasons. And if you disagree with me, you're stupid. Like, it's just, vitriolic rage in the comment section, and that really gets to you. And so I try to avoid any of that right off the bat before it even happens. And generally, I've been successful. Usually, I don't get any like hatred on my channel, so I've been pretty happy with that so far. But I only have 300 subscribers, so we'll see what happens.
Well,
I intentionally got afraid of posting anything about celebrity types. I started doing it only like 2 weeks ago because up until that point I thought I should probably keep this to myself until I don't know, can at least defend it well and can feel more confident about it.
Yeah, the theory is hard. Like you can.
I think that it's important to get checked. For me, that I get checked in the group a lot. Like if I do overstep or am presumptuous or make social mistakes, which is where I'm most likely to make mistakes, I will be alerted to that fact in no uncertain terms. I have to be pretty clean in my interactions with others in terms of not making a lot of mistakes because I get schooled if I do make mistakes. I mean, people just fucking school me, you know? So I'm having to train myself.
It's even recorded.
And it's on tape, right? And they can refer back to it. It's like, remember this time when I fucking schooled the shit out of you, Eric? And it's like, yeah, I remember. You know, it keeps you honest, right? At least I don't have the burden that Taylor has. Taylor has the mantle of never wrong, which is quite a heavy burden to carry, I would imagine. I am definitely sometimes wrong. So, you know, but I have a lot of combative discussions and different. I mean, some of the discussions around here are totally, completely tame and relaxed, and some of them are quite controversial. There's a certain amount of, I'd say, pushback on the Muslim videos that I make.
I think that you have to dare to be a little sensational sometimes because conflict also makes things more interesting all the time. So
yeah, I will say that when my subscriber rate tanks, I'm going to start drama with both of you guys so that it gets the pot stirring and then people check out my channel and subscribe to me more. That's a tactic that I know is useful.
Well, you could probably start drama with me. I'm pretty easy to start drama with. That's the thing about having so many videos up and having so many different little dramas and stuff is well, I mean, here's the other thing. I'm hoping that my approach to this whole thing has a long tail payoff. That is to say, with so many people having bits of their lives stored as artificial SI for them, as it is for me, that people, when they remember some time after they participated, will look back and go, oh, I want to see that video again. And that over time, the cumulative impact of that will produce good results for me. That's one of my hopes. I don't know. What do you think about that, Eric?
Yeah, it's nice. Everyone loves having journals or for storing things, taking photos of everything they do. It's a need we seem to have.
Yeah, I'd like ideally, eventually, for talking to famous people to transcribe every conversation, successfully identifying the speaker in each of the conversations in the transcription, and then automatically tag all the videos and produce a cross-indexed library of material that you can reference. So you can say, like, time that Susie said, and then enter the phrase, and it'll pull up that video in the time slot. That's what it would be ideal. That'd be Magic Sky Friend.
I want to look at the video where you kicked me out.
How did that happen?
He pissed me off.
From my point of view, host Eric was talking about something I didn't want to talk about for a longer period of time than I was willing to tolerate.
And you got kicked out.
And I stood my ground and got kicked out.
And we resolved it without you.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it was about. I honestly have no recollection of what it was about. There's a lot of dramas going on around here.
Yeah, we can talk about it after the video.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this stuff? This has been another rambling, stumbling, bumbling video here. Erik, any last thoughts on the matter before we close up shop?
We got one more.
Yeah, I guess I don't think that I don't consider myself that famous on YouTube at all, or I don't think we are at that level. I think most people today are a little famous with Facebook and Twitter and whatever. So I think it's more like we have a small community. We have a nice, awesome community. Really, I feel like I have got an amazing community of like people that. Share really amazing feedback and thoughts, and everyone is like has been like I feel like everyone has been so cool. That's like the thing that has been the greatest reward for me. The thing that kept me making YouTube videos was probably I don't think I intended to keep making YouTube videos, but I think I got I think I loved all the people reaching out to me, and I think all the people commenting was what made it really fun. So I think my experiences are very similar to yours in some ways. You shared that the community kind of boosted you to it, and I feel like it's really the same for me. That it's been the community that has been what made YouTube worth it, and I think
Right.
it's the case for a lot of YouTubers.
Right. I agree with you that we certainly are at a very low level of fame. The thing I'm waiting to happen one day, and then it'll make me feel like I have some actual fame, would be for some random person to recognize me in the world. That will be the happiest day of my life. When some random person goes, "Host Erik?" I'll be like, "Yes, it's me. It's totally me." Yeah,
The
that'll be
odds for
super
that is pretty
exciting.
large already. I think
What's that?
the odds for that, I think, happening is very large is already.
I know. Well, I mean, I'm gonna. But look, I've got 3,000 some odd videos, and I'm gonna keep on pumping them out, and hopefully this thing will grow. You know, I don't know. Eventually, if I talk to enough people in the world, which I do, the number of people that I have on various videos with me is, I don't know, a lot of people over time. And each of those people maybe shows that video to one other person, blah 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 blah, or something. I don't know. Eventually, maybe, then somebody will recognize me. That's my hope. Somebody, I've got. If I put the next 20 years into this, right? 20 more years at my current growth rate, I'll have almost 10,000 subscribers 20 years from now. And uh, who knows? Maybe someone will recognize me.
That's my question to Basement Overlord. What is the primary fun you get out of making videos on YouTube so far? What's been the most amazing thing?
I started off. I had like this incredibly like spiritual 2 weeks where I just like felt like a totally different person. And I just started I started recording myself talking. It was just me talking to myself. I wouldn't even upload it. And then a few of them, I was like, hey, I want to upload a few videos of me talking to myself that other people might find useful. So then I upload some like Enneagram videos, and I liked doing that. And then I realized like I wanted more people to see these beautiful things I was like saying or whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna like make videos that people actually care about. So Myers-Briggs, because I'm interested in that stuff, I'm knowledgeable. And so for me, this whole thing has been like, I've liked the idea. It's like me using NI. It's like I like the idea of turning this into something like greater, like bigger, better, and then like seeing how it like grows over time with something that like I've spent a lot of time researching and finally can like make useful things for people as opposed to just sort of like thinking about this stuff, you know?
Like a
Yeah, I want to say
chair.
that I think that you need a little of an ego to access introvert intuition. Like you need to have an ego enough, the ego enough to think that what you're saying is important or valuable. Otherwise, otherwise it just stays inside you indefinitely. Like you need a little of that feeling that yeah, this is probably valuable. I think people might want to hear this.
Yeah, and I definitely struggle a lot with perfectionism. Like, oh, it's not quite right. But the way I see it now is anything I say, as long as I believe it to be truthful after like the 3 years I've been researching this stuff, well, there'll be some nugget of information that will get that people find useful, and maybe the stuff I'm saying isn't always true all the time, but then people can correct me, and I'll learn from it, and they can learn from it. It's just generating the discussion more, I think.
I approached it from the other direction. I started by assuming that nothing I had to say was of any interest at all to anybody, and that liberated me. And then eventually, when I determined that if I tried harder, that people cared a little bit, then I tried harder. But that's to me the way that I was able to start making them at all was to make no limitations for myself on quality or anything like that. My first videos that I uploaded were like, well, I wonder. I'd sit there and think on camera for like a minute, and then I'd go, nah. You know what I mean? Just painfully unwatchable videos of me just thinking out loud. So the thing was, I needed to liberate myself in that regard. I needed to make a rule that said I can upload whatever I want because why I'm doing this because I need to get shit off of my chest. And so, and then eventually I started trying harder because I realized, oh, you mean I could actually get people to watch these? I mean, it actually, YouTube does what it's supposed to do to some extent. If you have a good video, it'll promote it and stuff. Oh, I'll try, I guess, somewhat. Some of the time. As best I can. Which isn't very good, but it's okay. And you can't.
I got a comment earlier today from one person saying, like, you took so long to get to the point that my mind wandered off. ... And I was like,
I've
one of my first videos I ever posted, and I was like, yeah, I can get that. I get that.
I've gotten that too. I think you have to see those points as valid. You have to see those points as valid and not personal attacks, and just be like, yes, I can see how someone would have gotten bored. My audience, my intended audience, is people who won't get bored. So I'm going to keep focusing on them,
Well, the thing is, it's important for me to be able to distinguish between people who are motivated by actually telling me something that bugged them, or people who are motivated by like hating and shit. And it's usually pretty easy to tell. But there's a certain kind of NTP comment that is super passive aggressively hatey, and I like to try to dig into those ones a little bit. People are, I think, hesitant to come at me in the comments a little bit in general. I think I've policed them pretty well. Okay, well, let's bring this video to a close. It's been very nice chatting with Erik, Thor, Patrick, and Susie. Do you have any comments? You haven't really chimed in much before I end this. I'm sorry to have not involved you more actively.
No, it's fine. It just didn't go exactly the way I thought it would.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did you think
It
it was
doesn't
going to
matter.
go? Well, I want to know now. I want to know. The video's still running. I want to hear. I want to hear what it was.
I know
supposed to be like.
that's why I'm saying it later.
God damn it, Susie! Now it's going to be a cliffhanger. No one's going to get to know. Okay, well,
check out part 3. Check out part 3.